Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chilling Neigh Podcast, your premier VGC podcast. My name is Rashil, aka Kongdong, joined by Sabai. What is up, man?
Absolutely nothing, Reg G dying down, everything, it's all coming to a close. Reg I hopefully starting soon. I just want to know what's going on. Why do we have another month of Reg G? A lot of questions up in the air. But what's up with you? What's going on?
A lot. I mean, I told you before we started recording, I've been like concussed for the last week, so that's been crazy. Went on my bachelor party, which was epic, but then came back and was really excited to watch some VGC, watch Stockholm. I've been grinding the best of one ladder with just a ridiculous team. So, yeah, let's get on into it though. We had Stockholm this last weekend, and I feel like we've been predicting this for like, or at least I've been trying to predict this for like all season about like Kelch's, like just Kelch gonna be
Yep.
winning an event, and that's why we kept saying Zama might win,
Yep.
and he ditched Zama, picked up Hard Trick Room for the first time at a major and just won immediately and defended his title, which was insane. So congrats to him. But yeah, let's get into it. What are your thoughts on Stockholm?
Gotta be one of the most boring regionals I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm done with Reg G, but like I look at these results and there's like I don't know. I think it's like there's nothing crazy here. This is like, okay, it's kind of cool. I get it. But like, I don't know. There's nothing. I don't know. There's no spark here. There's no like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I don't know.
That's, I think that's an insane statement. Nothing crazy after Hard Trick Room wins. We have another Lunala, this time Lunala balance in finals. We had Koraidon, like Jamie Boyd, just with his like Koraidon cook that I feel like he's been trying to make Koraidon like, I mean, he has been making it work, but he's been
Yeah.
trying to like really be on that train for a long time now, and then he got a huge result with it. And then we have how many different restricted? Seven different restricteds in top eight. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about
Kelly
right.
shout out the only week.
I just don't
So
think anything is necessarily new or exciting at this point. Like, yes, the hard trick room team from Michael is kind of like no one really expected that to win. It kind of was a curveball, but like hard trick room's been a thing. Builds like that have been a thing. Even if you go back to pre like the first part of Reg G, you had the Tub Takes team with like the Electabuzz hard trick room, right? Stuff like that has seen results. So I'm not like overly like surprised by it. Lunala had just come off a Vancouver win. Not too surprising there, right? The Scream Tail Pago stuff that's just been around. I still don't understand how it wins games, but it's there. Koraidon has been around. Koraidon with some aggressive stuff has been around. Obviously, it's a different take, but I think in concept I've seen it. The Kyogre
yeah.
team, it's been around, it's just a consistent team. Um, Tailwind, Calyrex Shadow, not anything too surprising. Aerobega Miraidon, and I guess CSR Mienshao is probably one of the more like things out of left field there. But like overall, in the top eight, I am not like surprised by what's there. Maybe that's the better way to put it. Maybe boring is the wrong word.
Yeah, I mean like I don't know. I We didn't see Lunala. I mean, I guess what we saw before was a little bit Lunala size to him, but I can see what you're saying. You're right. Like none of these are like crazy new comps. They're
Yeah,
just a
just
lot of diversity, I think, in top eight. I'm like curious. I was gonna ask this on Twitter, but I forgot. Do you know the last time a Hard Trick Room dedicated team won a regional? I feel like we see it all the time in like maybe a top eight, top 16, something like that, but like actually winning an event. I
yeah.
can't remember.
I
I don't think I've seen it win. Like this is
it's
the first
it's
time I think I've seen
definitely
it win
won
like
an
a big.
event before. There's no doubt in my mind that that has happened.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more so a question of how far back you have to go because I definitely don't think it's been in a restricted format. Did it happen in Reg 8? Did we get a hard trick room team in Reg 8? I don't think so, right? I think you've got to go back
Nothing
to
won.
the. I think you got to go back to like the Indeedee Armor Rouge days of early Scarlet Violet.
Did any of those even win though? You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel
Like I
like
feel
one of
like
them would have had to at some point, right? Like
I don't know. I feel like I would have popped off if like one of them actually won or Tommy. Like I feel like we
that's
keep seeing
fair.
them get close, but like I don't think like we usually had like some sort of balanced team win. I'm just like trying to think back to. I mean like there's a obviously chance of like please let us know if
Yes,
what we're
please.
missing because I'm sure there is one, but like I couldn't remember one in Scarlet Violet, and I couldn't even like and maybe there's one like a smaller major that was like a special event or something
Yeah,
like that where it won, but like as in terms of like I guess an NA or EU major, I couldn't remember
I've got nothing right
anything
now
winning. So
in terms of like and
pretty insane. I don't know. Like I think it's so like not to make you talk about hard trick room too much because I know that's your favorite topic, but I just think it's really funny to see like a strategy that is considered like fairly linear. It just is like about what reads can you make in terms of getting your lines to work.
yeah,
Seeing like goated player like Michael like just pick it up for one event and do better than like 99% of hard trick room players have ever done. You know, like
yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
And I've said this for a while with the hard trick room stuff, right? Like you said, it's linear. It's super linear. You kind of have the concept of what's going to go on in every single game, you know? How do I get trick room up? That is the concept. How do I get trick room up and how do I spend those 4 turns in trick room doing as much damage as I possibly can, right? That's the position you're playing to. And I've always said it's a fairly easy team to pick up because in concept it's like, "Oh, yeah, this is my line, this is what I'm doing." And I just analyze what they can do to stop that and I try to make it happen on my end. But I've also always said that to take it to the next level, you need to be an amazing player. And I think this just farther proves how good Michael actually is because like you said, it's a linear team. But I watched one set from Stockholm and it was finals this weekend. And the way Michael played that game, especially game 3 where he just said, "I don't need trick room." It's like, okay. It's crazy. Like the way I don't know, the way he outplayed, I don't know. I do think he outplayed Eric in this finals, but it was still a really good set. And I don't know, Michael, good player. Who would have thought?
Yeah. It's I mean, I saw I think Jody or someone tweet about this, but I like he's on an insane path. He's
Oh, yeah.
on a crazy start to a VGC career. This is 2 years in, and just like the accomplishment that he's racked up is ridiculous. And I mean, how like I don't know. Hopefully, he plays for a long time, and we start having conversations of, oh wow, is he actually like threatening? Like
Is he?
is someone gonna get right now? Because right now the gap between Wolf and the next person is like
Yeah.
enormous,
Mhm.
enormous, right? But we're always looking for that next player that who's gonna maybe threaten
Yeah.
that crown, and like he seems to be someone that's on an historic pace, you know? Like
Oh,
it's pretty nuts.
absolutely. The thing is, even if he stops playing right now, you still have to consider him one of the best players of all time.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
first at Worlds, followed up by the next. Sorry, no, it was second at Worlds, right? Was it second? Yeah, second at Worlds, followed
Yeah,
up by third at Worlds, and I'm like, okay, that's
yeah,
kind of good. Like that alone, you don't need any other results. That alone is fantastic to cement yourself
it's
as one of the
ridiculous.
best players of all time. Now you pile it on. What is this? Obviously, this is the second time he's won Stockholm. Is this like his third or fourth regional win at this point? Like, what's going on? Like, that's already insane.
He's he's ridiculous. And I think like you're right. If he like, I don't know if anyone's gotten as close as him multiple times to a world championship win without eventually getting it. 'Cause I think it was Wolf who did it similar, and then Sagen was kind of close
I
multiple
know
times, I think. Right?
I know James Bake is super close. Like he's been super close
Oh, yeah.
so many times. So I think that would be the
And
next one if they don't win Worlds. Like that's an overdue Worlds win right there. I would think.
yeah, agreed. Agreed. All right. Well, I have a small game relating to Michael. So,
Oh, we're jumping right
with
into it. Okay. Uh-oh.
jump right into it because I think we were already talking about him, so like this
Yeah.
is a
No, it makes
perfect
sense.
time to play it. So, all right, so connect five. So there's five numbers
Yeah.
I'm gonna give to you. They all relate to Kelsh in some way, and you have to kind of tell me what they represent. So
Okay.
numbers are 2, 2, 3, 22, and 10.
So 2, 2,
And we'll
3, 22, and 10.
yes. So where do you
Okay.
want to start? And you get 3 lives. 3 lives.
3 lives.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'll display these numbers on the screen so you can follow along. Also, feel free to play along if you think you can get this faster than I can, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm getting this.
I think there's a couple that you're gonna get easily, and then there's a couple.
Like
I think
22,
there's one.
22 is already throwing me off.
22 is the hard one. 22 is the hardest
Okay.
one.
One of the twos has to result is one of the two second place at Worlds.
One of them is second place at Worlds. Correct.
I'm gonna go with the three is gonna be three regional championships, 3 wins.
That's your first life.
Really?
Correct. Yes. 2 lives remaining.
I guess this is not my guess, but I'm just kind of speaking. I guess the three could also be third place at Worlds. The 10 is questionable. I don't know what's going on with the 10. Is the other two he's been playing the game for 2 years?
No, that wasn't it. But I'll give you a hint. So that's 1 life remaining. I'll give you a hint though. You were on the right track with your first guess, but you were had the wrong number.
Oh, okay, okay. So then it's two. He only has two regional wins.
2 regional in Stockholm twice, yeah. And
Okay.
then I wouldn't overthink the three. That's
But like you
what I'll
say,
say.
don't overthink the three. But it's like the problem is there's no thought process going in my head. I don't know.
You're it's similar to an earlier number. Something you already said before, yeah.
So is it actually just the three worlds? The third place at Worlds? Is that?
Third place at Worlds, yeah. Third place at Worlds. Okay, here's where the two tougher ones. The
Okay, we've
10,
got
I think is
22 and
gettable.
10. So I have one
I think
life
10
left,
is
right? So
gettable.
if I get it wrong, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to say something dumb like, "Oh, he's topped the Ranbats ladder 10 different times," but like, I don't know if I want to actually say that. Like, I don't know if I want to lock that in. I could also do that. I could also see that being the 22. Like, oh, he got topped the Ranbats ladder 22 times, right? Like, I can definitely see that
I
being the
mean,
case. Um, I can't help but wonder if you have 22 being like 2022 and that was the year he converted the VGC as well. Like I don't hate that concept.
the number is just 22.
The
The
number is
number is just
okay, okay,
22.
okay. I wasn't sure how out of the box we were getting on these
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah. No.
So what else would he have done 22 times? Like this is tough. What have he done?
That's your gut.
Is it like he's gone to 22 events? I could see that being a case as well. That's something. I'm just trying to throw everything out there. That way, when I get it wrong, maybe I
Trust
said it
your gut.
earlier and I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Also, something I just thought about that could be really, really cool is if we took suggestions for the next player to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a fun one.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you guys really want to see us like do a different player, we can try to do that as well. Just let us know. I think that could be fun moving forward. Um, 22 and 10. This is tough. What is
22,
22 is
22,
messed.
you were on a right track. You were on a right track with one of them.
I don't even remember what I said 20 seconds ago. Is it okay? I'm just gonna lock in. He's gone to 22 major events.
But are you sure about that guess?
I'm gonna take that as a no, obviously. Um, this is like ridiculously tough, and then the 10 is also kind of messed up. Like, what does the 10? Like, what is the 10 trying to represent? Is it 22 day twos? No, that's insane. 10 day twos? It could be 10 day twos. But, like, I'm trying to figure out where you would have gotten those stats from.
I'll give you another hint. One of the numbers you basically said the answer, and one of them you're not giving him enough credit. I know the second clue is a little bit vague, but
So, one of them is going to probably be, I have to assume it's going to be Ranbats Ladders top. Does he top 10 Ranbats Ladders?
he topped it 22 times.
He topped the Ranbats Ladder 22 different times?
According to his Twitter screenshots that he posts, he's topped it 22 times.
Okay, you know
So
what?
can you
I don't
think?
even feel bad about going out here because like I was kind of on the right. Like I knew Rambat's ladder. I had a feeling you were gonna throw the
Yeah, no, that
Rambat's
was a
ladder in
great
there,
pull.
but I guess I just
That was
didn't
a
give him
great
enough
pull.
credit on the Rambat's. The Rambat's difference is crazy. I guess
Yeah, and then any idea what the 10 was?
the only thing I can think of is like number of day twos.
Number of top cuts.
Yeah. Okay. Like I
Yeah,
said, it was
so
gonna be something along that line. 10 top cuts is
yeah,
insane. Obviously, incredible
yeah.
player. Just 22
So
times
just
he's topped the Rambat's ladder.
it's crazy. I mean, at least since he's been posting about it, it's like he's just ridiculous at Mons. It's just absurd.
That's crazy. Like this, keep in mind, guys. Keep in mind, if you guys don't know what the Rambat ladder is, basically it's a random battle where you get six
Yeah,
random Pokemon and your opponent gets six random Pokemon. So you could literally pull up to this game and you could end up with like I don't know the exact limitations, but you could end up with like a Magikarp versus an Arceus to start the game, and like he has been at the top of this ladder 22 different times. That's kind of crazy.
it's insane. It's like he was a singles player before, I think,
Yes,
right? And so
yes.
he's just like he was just cracked at it, and now he's still like. And what I've heard from a lot of people is that like singles Ranbats actually helps a lot in like BGC, just like some like honing some like reads and skills and stuff like that. But he's just ungodly at Ranbats, and
It,
then
it
also at VGC,
Yeah, it's
like we were
interesting
saying.
you say
It's
that Ranbats helps with VGC because yes, it does, and I'm not going to discredit that, but I don't play a lot of Ranbats. What I do actually is when I go to regionals now, and been doing this for the past few years, is I have been not playing the game on Friday. I don't play the game. I use Friday as like my quote unquote travel day, and then on the
yeah,
Saturday morning I will wake up and I will get a Ranbats game in. Whether it's doubles Rambats or singles Rambats, I will use Rambats on the Saturday morning before the event to kind of get my brain into gear. And that way I'm not playing VGC. I'm not overthinking anything about my team, but I'm still getting my brain to kind of like start getting into that mindset. So it's like it was interesting that you brought it up that actually helps with VGC because like that's kind of been my
yeah.
like prep pre regional prep sort of thing.
That's crazy because that's like same for me basically. Like whenever I'm like like not wanting to play, whether it's like all right, I've reached a like nice ladder ranking and I don't want to mess with it right now, or I just like or I'm like at a tournament I don't want to shake any confidence like
Yep.
playing showdown games. Like I'll just not I'll put VGC aside, just like load up Ranbats games just to like get the skills going, get the like just be thinking about like making reads stuff like that. So that's funny that we have similar process there.
Yeah, it
Um,
really is.
yeah. All right. Well, anything else that like, I mean, we still have what's crazy is we still have another Reg G regional,
Multiple.
Atlanta, or at least,
In
yeah,
North
at least
America,
one
we
more.
have Atlanta. I'm pretty sure there's another
Is
one
it?
in Europe. I could be wrong.
Oh my
There might actually be one in Latin America as well. Don't quote me on that, guys. But I think there are still. We have a whole month of this format still.
Wait, I'm actually so question for you as someone who played before like the Sword and Shield days when there were like year-long formats. Like
Yes.
cuz like formats felt like it's dragged on, but it's also only been going on for like 6 months,
Yes.
7 months like in
Okay.
totality. Um so I'm curious like did it ever feel like it was like dragging on like this during like the year-long formats that you guys would have in like Sun and Moon days, stuff like that?
In a sense, yes. Sometimes you would
Yeah.
get that, but there was also the sense of back in the day, it was I can take a break, right? And then come back and not be so far out of this metagame, right? Which was always very good, right? Here, and now over the last whatever amount of years, we've had these series and they just keep changing and changing and changing. So I think a lot of us have
Yeah.
now gotten used to that process, right? So it may not really be dragging on right now. We've seen a lot of good development over the last few regionals, right? But
Yeah.
everybody's just kind of fed up. We know there's a new format coming up. So like people kind of now stop innovating, right? Whereas when you have that year-long format, it was what we were used to. It's how we got used to the game, and we just knew that we're gonna have to keep innovating because we're gonna have to keep playing this format. So it didn't get quote unquote stale because I'm done with Reg G. I don't have to play any more events. On my YouTube channel, I'm not really breaking down Reg G anymore, right? But if this format was a year long and we were still going to continue playing this after a month, there would still be all kinds of meta development. There would still be a lot more breakdown videos. This might be peaking up in rising in usage. So that kind of stuff, right? Like we saw Lunala, right?
Yeah.
We saw it win Vancouver. We saw a different Lunala build get second in Stockholm. So there is still meta development. I don't necessarily think the format itself, like the development within the format, is dragging. I just think people are starting to get done with Regulation G in terms of I don't think it's a very good format overall. But I think it was different back in the day. And I think it's also different when you know that it's going to keep going because you kind of just put up with it and you don't let it drag on. You try new things, right? I found this Kyogre team that I've been playing. I'm not going to build a new team. Why am I building a new team? Right?
Yeah.
Whereas, back in the day, it's like I had this team. It worked for 3 months. It's like, okay, the meta's shaping away from it now. Time to build up because I got 4 more months of this format to figure out. Right? Time to
Yeah.
mix it up a little. So I think that's kind of the sense. I don't know if it necessarily is dragging on because we are seeing development in terms of the teams.
Yeah. That makes sense. You're right. It is like I feel like it's more about like people's feelings about the format
Yep.
versus like the actual how the format's developing. Like I don't know. There hasn't been a lot of champions of like I love Reg G, it's my favorite format kind of thing. It's been a lot of like, all right, I'm doing well in Reg G, or like I'm ready to move on to whatever the next format is. Um, which brings me to also
Yep.
what do you think the next format is? And then what other formats would you hope it would be?
Okay.
You know what
So
I'm
this
saying?
is kind of a interesting topic because I really think we don't have enough information to effectively know what the next event is going, what the next format is going to be. However, I think I have a few ideas as to the direction that they're heading. So, first thing is, are we going to be switching to champions, and when does champions come out? I'm going to leave that alone right now. I'm don't really want to get into that conversation. But I
Yeah.
think that also, I do think that plays a part in how we're going to close out this format. If
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet in this year's Worlds in Anaheim is going to be the last World Championships on Scarlet and Violet, we will have Reg I be double restricted, and we will be playing double restricted right through Worlds. If Scarlet and Violet has another year on its life cycle and 2026 World Championships are going to also be on the Scarlet and Violet system or on the Scarlet and Violet games, that will be the double restricted. So that leaves the question of what do they want Regulation I to be if that ends up being the lifeline no, that's not an English word, Ryan. If that ends up being the length of the life of Scarlet and Violet, right? So if we have 2 more years on this game or another year and a half, so to speak, and there's 2 more World Championships, where do we go with Regulation I? And I would like to see something like Reg H plus Paradox. I think that would be really, really cool. I think Paradox on Reg H technically builds on what we already had, and I think it fixes a lot of the issues people had with the format. What are your thoughts, though? I don't want to just rant
Yeah.
for 40 hours.
Well, I'm curious what you think the impact of like ZA, because I've seen people say that like okay, it's gonna be double restricted and then like double restricted plus whatever they add
Yep.
in Legends ZA, which I feel like it would add like one, two viable mons, like
It
what
won't
that
be.
wouldn't really change much. So I don't see that. Have we gotten confirmation that it is Regulation I though? Or have we just gotten confirmation that there is going to be another regulation? Like,
We have
could we
gotten
have
confirmation that Regulation G ends at the end of April. That is our confirmation.
okay, we could have another situation where we go back to another format, which would be I don't know, like I personally loved Reg H. I thought it was
I
so
love
fun.
Reg H.
I know people have their feelings about just like the Sneasler spam that was everywhere, but I personally love that format, so I would be happy if we went back to that. I also like know a lot of people liked Regulation F.
Reg F, let's
I
go.
personally I was like I liked it at the beginning, then I didn't love it when it was like every single game was just like a Calm Mind Bolt mirror, but like generally like the format. So I think those two going
Yep.
back to it would be cool.
I'm just not a
But
huge
I
fan
agree,
of going back to formats.
yeah,
Like,
like
why
that's
didn't
the
we?
thing.
If
Like
we
I
were gonna
feel
go back to it, why didn't we just stay in it for the extra 3 months,
exactly.
right? And then move forward.
Yeah, I totally agree, and like I feel like me personally, I feel like what brings a lot of fun for me in a new format is like I feel like I like when we build up and there's like this refreshing add of new mons that we can use. There's a like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now we can use like legendaries, now we can use, paradox mons, now we can use, restricteds, whatever it
Yep.
is. And so like this going back and forth is weird, whereas like I wish we just like stayed in one format and then all right, we're gonna go back or move up. But I personally would not be mad if we went back to Reg Age. I just think it's so like I love the lower power level formats because
Me too.
I don't know, personally it like first of all, Conkeldurr is still not viable, but I
But
could try to make a team with it. But overall, I just like the mons that are used there versus like using like, all right, let's just use Incineroar, Ursh plus restricted or something to that effect, or just
yeah,
Arubega at this point. I wouldn't be mad like if it's double restricted. I just hope it's not the case that we're gonna be playing a double like two worlds formats in this or
right.
two of the same worlds formats.
I
That would
don't think
be
we will. I've never seen
yeah.
back-to-back Worlds formats be the same format. So if we're getting double restricted, which at some point it's guaranteed, they're going to give us a double restricted format. At some point, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, for me, it's really just going to be on that last year of Worlds on Scarlet and Violet, in my opinion, based on what I've seen over the 9 years I've been playing this game. To me, it's going to be that last year Scarlet Violet Worlds is going to be double restricted. I just don't know when the last year Scarlet Violet Worlds is going to be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, we got to shout out
All right, here's
2019 here. We got to shout out 2019, but I'll get back to that in a second. Go ahead.
okay. I well, okay. Shout out 2019 first, because then I have a wacky question, I guess.
Okay. So basically, I think 2019 was the best set of cycled formats that we ever had. And not necessarily based on the formats themselves. I loved all of them. I did like all three, but that's not what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at here is it was, I believe it was just after Worlds we got all the formats. We knew that Sun series was from this point to this point, the next series was this point to this point, and the other series was this point and being played at Worlds. We knew that right in September. We knew that. We also knew what all of the formats were going to be. So if you wanted to take a break for 3 months and only play like casually, you may want to invest time in building for the format that you knew was upcoming because that's when you were going to be back, right? I don't I'm okay with the cycle format, but I don't like this. Well, now I'm done. I've been done with Regulation G for like the last 2 weeks pretty much. Right? If I knew what the
Yeah.
next format was, I could have already been building for it because I know that would have been my next event. And I wish we just knew at the beginning of the year, yep, there's going to be 4 cycles. These are going to be your formats. Right? I think
Yeah.
that is the way that they need to do this because there are going to be people, that are in scenarios where it's like, well, I don't have a regional in this format. Why am I building for it? Their time would be better spent building for a format that they know they're going to later on. And I think that definitely just helps out even just the general mindset of the player base in overall. But
So, okay, I guess to play devil's advocate,
okay.
what so let's say it's, there's two players, right? Like one is like you where they're done with Reg G and they're trying to plan for the next event, right? And then there's another player who's still going to a Reg G event, and then is still again both players are competing for worlds. Do you think it gives, I guess, an unfair time preparation advantage potentially if like they're like focused on Reg G, like they're focused on Atlanta, and you get to focus on Portland or something, and start building and testing for Reg I, where they're gonna have, I guess, less time to test for Reg I.
I'm gonna say in a vacuum, yes, but also in the broader sense, no. And I'm gonna explain my reasoning for this. Technically, yes, I'll have like let's just say in this exact scenario, if I could have started
Right.
building for Regulation I 2 weeks ago after Vancouver, right? Yes, I
Yeah.
have 2 extra weeks. They're still prepping for Atlanta, right? And moving forward from that, technically, yes, I've been playing the game for longer. However, the way I look at this is I don't think we really get true meta development in a format until we have everybody and all the focus on that format, right? So, and I have a perfect example of this. Do you remember the King Gambit Latias team at whatever format that was? And it was like the team to beat. It was the balanced team. It was like King
Yeah,
Gambit,
yeah, yeah.
Latios stuff. It was the team to beat. Everybody was so hyped for, oh my goodness, this is the team to beat. And then we hit the
Yeah.
first event, and it was completely, the metagame just completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that I think is just because like all those people that were prepping early found this team, did okay with it, but then everybody else that prepped later on for the event were like, oh, we're just gonna go beat that, you know? It,
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about early meta development that doesn't necessarily give you as much of an advantage of prepping for a format later on. I don't know. It's weird. Is there technically a time thing where it's like, yeah, they get more time to play the format? I think absolutely, but I don't think it actually affects all that much moving forward, especially if both players are competing for worlds. Like, here's the thing, like somebody competing for worlds will find the time and will find the ability to at least have some sort of decent team in a week's span after Atlanta switching over to Milwaukee. I actually think we got 2 weeks, right? So like, it's not necessarily as big of a difference. It might be bigger in terms of somebody competing for worlds and then somebody who's maybe, just jumping back into the game. That time span might make a little bit more of a difference, like in that sense
Right.
of just be like, I'll be so much more versed in the meta than they would have been. However, I don't think in terms of two players competing for worlds, I don't think it's necessarily going to make a huge difference.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Wacky idea, I guess.
Oh no.
So we've only had this once, and it wasn't even like we didn't have tournaments. But
No,
thoughts
don't
on a
put the
top
mythicals away. Put the mythicals away. No, don't even say
no,
it.
no,
Just
not mythicals. Not mythicals. Top 10 ban list.
no, put
And like so
put the ban
this is
list
the one
away. Put the ban
this is
list
the
away.
ones that this is the ones that would get banned according to Peakalytics like Reg G like showdown stuff. Right? Urshifu, Incineroar, Raging Bolt, Kali Ice, Amoonguss, Lando Eye, Rillaboom, Kali Shadow, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Qianpao. And then Miraidon just makes it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say Miraidon gets cut to. Top 11 ban list.
A terrible format. Absolutely garbage. And I'll tell you why. This might be the balanced player in me talking. But when
Yeah.
they did this in the past, it was Series 6 of Sword and Shield. And what happened was
Yeah.
the Pokemon at the top were all the support pieces. So yeah, and you get to ban Urshifu, you get to ban Kali Shadow, you get to ban these offensive pieces. But you're
Yeah.
also now banning the pieces that are staples and that make other teams function. So you're banning Incineroar, you're banning Amoonguss, you're banning Rillaboom, you're banning Raging Bolt. It's a bulky piece. It can be a cycle like with an Assault Vest, right? It's a very bulky piece. You are banning pretty much effectively every bulky pivot piece in the game. And those offensive, hyper offensive mons that are sitting at the, I don't know, if we cut off, say the cutoff was 10, those hyper offensive mons that are sitting at the 11 to 20 mark are just going to rule the format because there's going to be no switch-ins to them. There's nothing you're going to be able to do that's actually going to allow you to build a fully coherent team, and it's going to be like early Reg G was, where it's just rock, paper, scissors, and my HO team beats your HO team. If you ban those bulky pieces, which is what's going to happen because that's just the nature, because they're so good at the game, and they're so good at making sure your team is well-rounded, if you ban them, it's going to be chaos, it's going to be a bad format.
Well, yes, I agree. But here's the mons that we would be playing with, which would be kind of funny. So here's what doesn't get banned. We have like Torn and Hands, Frigg. We have Flutter Chi-Yu, which would be pretty, I feel like, impressive.
So you're
The
telling me
restricted
you're telling me you can walk into every game with Flutter Mane CU, and I can't have an Incineroar to stop that? I can't have a Terrafire AV Rillaboom to stop that? This is what you're telling me right now.
You can have Ogerpon Wellspring. You can have. Here's the restricted that we can have. You can have. You still have Grimmsnarl. That's I guess something. Um, you have okay. So the restricteds we'd have are Pagos, Kyogre, Zom, Rhydon, Lunala,
That,
Zacian.
that's
It
enough.
would be
That's
an
enough. You,
interesting.
you just said we have Miraidon. This guy won Worlds, and now you're taking away Rillaboom.
I'm saying no Miraidon. Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'm saying no
no
Miraidon.
Murai.
I'm saying
Okay,
no
okay, okay,
Miraidon.
okay. That's a little different.
No, I said Koraidon. I said Koraidon. Koraidon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Miraidon being
I
legal
was
is
about to
ridiculous,
say
but
Miraidon without
yeah,
Rillaboom. Hello.
I feel like it'd be an interesting restricted spread. Like the support pieces being gone would be bad, but like if Miraidon, Kali Shadow, Kali Ice, those are three. Yeah, they all get cut. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I agree. It would be a bad
It
format,
would be a
but it'd
garbage
be
format. I'll agree that
it'd be
I'll
terrible.
shake on it. It would be interesting just to see what the
Yeah,
hell would happen. But like, that would be possibly one of the worst things I could see. And
that'd be
speaking of
terrible.
which, we're probably gonna know on April 1st because we know what the next Battle Stadium format is gonna be on that update. So on April 1st, we'll know what the quote
Yeah.
unquote Reg I is going to be because we'll know what the next Battle Stadium format should be. It won't be an April Fool's Day prank. We will actually know what the format is on April 1st. Um, so maybe if it's something cool, we'll do like an emergency episode next weekend and or next week and see if we can get some early
Yeah.
thoughts in on that because it could be fun.
Yeah. If it's anything basically other than double restricted. If it's double restricted, then like we kind of saw that coming, I guess. I like to me, I don't know why. Like I guess it's because everybody's been like there's a whole server right now that's like being dedicated to just double restricted stuff and like everyone's just prepping for double restricted. That it's gonna be pretty funny if it's not double restricted. I think it'd be like all right.
Well, yes, it would be funny. As funny as
Yeah.
it would be, yes. But I think what I want to say here is like we established before, I would be okay having that be the case because everybody's prepping for double restricted, double restricted. Oh, we don't get it. We know we're gonna get it. There's no secret. At some point, we're getting this format. So it's not like I'm
Yeah.
prepping for like a whole server and I have a whole server dedicated to Reg H plus
Yeah.
Paradox. That may never happen. I'm not wasting my
Yeah.
time prepping for double restricted. It's eventually gonna happen. That's
Yeah.
the only I
Definitely.
think difference there, right? It's like you can prep for double restricted.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get it now. I'm gonna get it later. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I hope we go back to a little bit of a I mean, I guess the only options are go up in power level or go down because single restricted is a weird in between. So I hope we go down power level and go back to a little bit. I mean, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see where we'll go.
I,
But I feel like having a lower power format would also allow for like some ZA mons to come in and actually make like some sort of impact
I don't
versus
think we're
like
getting ZA months at all.
you don't think so?
I am fairly confident that the unless there is some sort of quote unquote update or more downloadable content to this game, Scarlet and Violet, I don't think they actually
Mm.
have a way to code in the ZA mods into Scarlet
Yeah,
and
I guess
Violet.
we got a DLC for all the sweet mons, right?
Yes. However, I still don't think they actually like. I don't believe like. But the also thing is like when the game first came out, we knew that we were gonna have two DLCs. That was kind of coded into the back end of the code of the game. I don't think they actually
Yeah.
have a way to code that into the game now, where it ends up like let's be real, the game's hanging on by scotch tape at this point. Like if they try to code that into the game without it already kind of being in the background, I think there's going to be a crazy amount of issues. I don't think it can ever happen. That's my take. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I hope I'm wrong and I hope we get
Yeah.
whatever happens in ZA coming back over here and we get a really cool new format, especially if we have to play this game for a little bit longer. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Actually, I think you're right because they're introducing all the megas and stuff in ZA. But they're probably not gonna make it. Like it's probably not
I,
gonna be
I just
compatible
can't see
with.
it happening. I would love to see something new. I would love to see something fresh, like a new insertion of Mons. I just don't think it's gonna happen at this point.
Yeah. Also, whenever the direct is and we get, I mean, there's been some leaks about the megas, but I
We're
we'll
not
save
getting
it for
into
now.
leaks
But
today. I don't want to get into leaks
we're
on
not gonna
this. Almost not on the
once we
channel
have
at
some
all.
official news, yeah, once we have some official news about that,
Yeah,
that'll be exciting to talk about.
absolutely.
Uh, yeah. Well, I'm excited to find out what the new format will be. I'm like, I've been just grinding best of one ladder with Dozo, Eternatus, Tinkaton, Weezing, Gigas. So I have definitely lost my marbles in this format.
The
I'm
uh,
just
the
like
Chilling Neigh is now looking for new hosts. Please leave your applications down below in the comment section.
in in fairness, in my draft league I have Eternatus, so doing prep kinda. Not really. But
Yeah, I'm just messing around. At this point though, you got to might
yeah,
as well have fun with it, right? If you're having fun with the game.
yeah. It's something, but yeah, we'll definitely discuss the next format once that drops on hopefully in April 1st. Yeah, once we get some confirmation. Hopefully we get Reg H or Reg H plus Paradox. I think that's what I'm probably rooting for.
I think Reg H plus Paradox is kind of like my number one, but I would be
Yeah.
scared to get it because it means we're probably getting another year of Scarlet and Violet. That would be my one drawback to if we get Reg H plus. Or they're gonna do Reg H plus Paradox until like June, and then we're just gonna be like, double restricted, go go go! You guys got 2 months to figure it out for Worlds.
That would be insane. That would be a bad Worlds, I think. And that would be like, I mean, I
Reg
don't think
D
it'd be
all
a
over
bad Worlds,
again.
but it'd be ridiculous. I think it'd be worse, honestly, than Reg D. Maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe not. But
yeah, it
yeah,
definitely would be.
yeah. The power level would just be too ridiculous and no testing in between. Like that'd just be insane. Um,
But it would be funny.
yeah, it would be. It would be. All right. Well, I think that's all I have on that. There was something else you wanted to talk about? I forget though.
No, it's
Do
good.
you remember?
No, it was gonna be. We are gonna talk
All
a
right.
little bit about what we thought the Worlds bar was gonna be, if we had any indications or what we thought might happen. But I don't. It's not like a super important thing that I think we need to talk about because at this point, like, it's full speculation.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like because I haven't competed this
Yeah.
season at all. Like seeing the number of CP that like the amount of CP that people have. I know like everything, but like I also have to remember like everything got inflated a bit,
Yes.
which I keep reminding myself. But I'm like, like
It's
people have
crazy.
like 800, 900 CP is crazy, and like so many people have this one. Like it's insane.
The first page on the leaderboards right now for the North American leaderboards are
Yeah,
it's 25 unless you change the settings. So it's 25. The top 25 players all have 1,000 CP or more.
it's
Last I
crazy.
checked, which is just insane. It's like,
That's
hello, like I'm
that's
having a good
crazy.
year, right? I'm sitting at
Yeah,
941, and literally until my last GC run, I was at 896, and I was not feeling safe at 896 to get my invite. I think it probably is gonna be okay, right? My
yeah,
guess is somewhere around the 880, 890 mark will end up securing a Worlds invite, but
yeah,
I would not feel safe skipping another. You know what I mean? At this point at 941 where I'm at now, I'm like, you know what? I feel a little bit more safer if like I have to skip an event or if I don't get into NAIC. It's not a huge issue. I think I'm gonna be safe anyways, and I'm a little more comfortable saying that. But at 896, I was not comfortable saying that. Like it might have been enough, but I was not comfortable saying that, and that's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day where I had this much, this many points in general and still not be able to say, yeah, I've got my invite. Like I technically still can't say it. Like I feel
yeah.
comfortable in saying it, but I don't know if I can say that. Like it could all go crashing down.
It's crazy because people talked about this a little bit when this was announced, like when this whole like season structure was announced, and then it hasn't been talked about since. But like once the world's like the final count, like once NAIC is done, and we have the first people to like bubble, like in several years to bubble worlds, it's gonna be so brutal. Like being 76th, and I cannot imagine the pain that's gonna be like for that person.
And
But
just so we know, the current cutoff as of the today's date, which is the 26th of March, basically one day before our episode goes out, but break the fourth wall for you guys. We've got 717 being number 75 right now, which is just
yeah,
insane.
that's crazy.
You
That's
do have to
crazy.
consider that some of these players are going to be getting removed from these standings because they've already
Yeah,
won regionals. and they have their invite automatically already. So like somebody like a Wolf Glick who's currently sitting in third on that list is getting removed. Somebody like a Justin Tang, it's currently sitting in second, is getting removed. So like technically you got to look farther down than that. It's like 77, I think. Obviously there's more than that, but in this small example,
Yeah.
77th would technically be the cutoff. But I don't know. It's interesting. I
It's
20
gonna be wild.
25 people at 1,000 CP or more is just disgusting. Like that's unheard of. That's just North America.
Okay.
That's not even like in all of like I'm gonna go to the Europe one. 25 again? Above? Yeah, it's another 25 people 1,000 CP or above. So in North America and Europe alone, there are 50 players above 1,000 points.
What's crazy is I saw that like Marco like got top 16, I think, at
And he didn't
Stockholm,
get
and
points.
like
He didn't get points
he didn't
because
get points. That's so insane. That's so insane.
like
He has like
Marco's sitting at
2,100.
2140 right now in terms of points. That's unheard of.
Oh my God, that's just ridiculous.
Like, and I get it. Marco is an
That
absolutely phenomenal player,
yeah,
right? And I'm not taking any credit from there. But like 2,100 points? Hello? That's insane.
crazy. That's absurd. Do you think they're gonna change? Do you think they're gonna keep this format next year?
I am really hoping they are using this to set a new bar. I think what they want out of this, like, obviously, I think they wanted Worlds to be harder. And I said this right away. I'm very happy. I think that they made Worlds a little bit more of a challenge. I agree with that concept. I think they went about it the wrong way this year. But I am very hopeful that they're going to look at this and say, okay, top 75 in North America was 800. We liked the number of people we had at Worlds this year. We're going to go ahead and make our new bar 800. And then next year we'll have an actual bar again and it will be 800. I would love to see that be the case. I would love to see that being the way they utilize this format and said, you know what? We messed up. This was insane. Top 75 is wrong. Don't worry. We're going to give you your championship points bar back. We're just going to set it at whatever number we think is valuable. And now we know that this is kind of what people are capable of when they're really pushing themselves. So I'd be curious to see if 800 or something similar to what we end up with at 75 ends up becoming the bar next year.
I like that idea. I hope that's the case as well.
Play
I'm
Pokemon if
like,
you're listening. Uh, I,
yeah,
one, I could use a job, and two, that's a great idea. Adaptation, take it.
definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, hopefully I don't have to do this like insane. I think it'll help a lot of people balance a like life outside of Mons with a life with
Yes,
Mon,
I
like
agree, and I
competing
think
for
that's one of my
worlds.
biggest issues with this format is I can't take a break
Yeah,
because it's so out of my hands. I can't not take a break, and that has got to be one of the
yeah,
unhealthiest ways to play this game. To play games in
yeah,
general, that's got
yeah,
to be one of the unhealthiest ways to compete in a circuit. If you are playing
yeah,
a game and you can feasibly sit there and say, "This is in my hands," it's fine, right? Whereas if you're playing a game and you cannot sit there and say, "I'm allowed to take a break," without worrying about something that's now out of your control, it just feels so unhealthy. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't think this
Totally
was the
agree.
way to go.
Yeah. It's gonna be a wild finish. We're kind of in the home stretch a little bit, like last like 3 months. Yeah, like a little less
Yeah,
than 3 months now.
pretty much the home stretch.
Until yeah, it's the season ends the same weekend that I get married, which is like so I know the countdown pretty well at
Oh,
this
you
point,
get married
which is
NAIC weekend? Great, crazy.
yeah, it's
You
crazy.
should just get married at
Uh,
NAIC and play the tournament.
yeah, it'd be a great way to get married. Like great day, win NAIC, and then get married. Perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
win
Love it.
NAIC, and as your winners interview is just like you start saying like your vows and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great. I love it. I
Totally
love it.
100% gonna happen. Yep.
Nothing worse than on your wedding day going 0 and 3 drop though. That would be a bad wedding day.
Getting hacked out on your wedding day.
Oh my God. Ridiculous, ridiculous. All right, well, that was a fun episode. Um, covered a lot.
That
All right,
went
well,
all over the place, but I'm happy with it.
yeah, I agree, I agree. Well, that's it for us this week. I think when is Atlanta? Is it in like
Atlanta's in,
2 weeks?
I think it's in 3 weeks. So I think we get an episode. I think we get technically an Atlanta preview. So I think the
Okay.
best way to do this is we're gonna have an Atlanta preview in a couple weeks, and then we'll do like
Yep.
an Atlanta recap into previews for start looking at Reg Eye kind of stuff. I think that's the way we're gonna have to handle this, and maybe throw in an episode next week if we get some crazy curveball with the format. But either way, hopefully you
Agreed.
guys enjoyed our rambling. I will let
Yeah.
Lucille take us out like normal though.
Yeah, no, thank you as always for listening. Let us know in the comments if you were able to win the game or what formats you want to see, anything at all. So, thanks again, and we will catch you in a couple weeks.
See you guys.